What's going on, Sales Dev Squad? Thanks so much for tuning into another episode here. We got a super special guest for you today. We'll be speaking with Ziad Hijazi, who's currently an investment advisor rep over at Gerber Kawasaki. Met him through a mutual friend who's also on this podcast as well, Laura D. And I'm excited to learn a little bit more about Ziad's journey into investments and his experience and what obviously led him here and how his role might be pretty applicable to any of our viewers here. But Ziad, thank you so much, man. How are you today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on. Also, shout out to Laura. Appreciate her connecting us, man. It's been awesome getting to know you.
Absolutely. We'll definitely unpack this idea of referrals a bit later, man. But just looking at your LinkedIn profile real quick, man, I noticed that you did a lot of different things before you kind of settled into what you're doing now. Do you mind just giving us like a quick overview of like, you know, some of the jobs and just roles you were into before Gerber Kawasaki?
Yeah. A lot of the roles I had before were while I was studying. For me, a big thing was just trying to get some kind of work experience before I really entered the working world, to get a good idea of, what I like, what I don't like, all that stuff. Few highlights, I worked for my family's, family company. I was a recruiter for a construction management firm. And so that was pretty neat in terms of, understanding what the job application process looks like from the other side of the table, basically, because, especially when you're younger, you're the one sending out your resume, but to see it from the other end, it gave some really good perspective, was kind of helping out, bring on subcontractors for projects. I had an internship with the Los Angeles Clippers, which was so fun. I'm a big basketball guy. And so, that was always kind of a dream of mine to work in the basketball industry, and working there for a summer really opened my eyes in terms of the back end of things and what it looks like, to support this whole organization. Most people just think of the players as the ones who run the team, right? But you have people who need to sell tickets and who need to, bring in business and actual revenue for the company and for the organization. So that was really neat. I had a internship at Samsung's office in Mountain View in Northern California, up in Silicon Valley. I was just kind of like doing various business work there. It's kind of just like a hodgepodge of things, right? But like all of them help play a part into developing who I am today, and kind of indirectly led me to the field that I am in now. And so been really fun. And now, obviously working as a investment advisor representative or financial advisor here at GK, and that's been an amazing experience.
Dude, thanks for that overview. I guess, like, how did you know like investment and sort of that sort of niche was something that you wanted to get into?
Yeah. So for me, the big thing is, one, I really like dealing with people, being in front of people. I really like helping people. Like, I feel like I'm the most happy when I can make other people happy. And so I wanted to do something where I felt like I was doing something that was really impactful in people's lives. I studied finance in college and really just gained a big interest in investing and love for investing. I didn't really know what it was going into college, but once I learned what it was, I was hooked, and I took every class, joined every club I could relating to it. And so coming out of college, I wanted to do something where I could combine my background in finance, my interest in investing, and my passion for people, most importantly. And financial advising was a no-brainer. And so it's been really fun to be able to do this.
So at its core, could you break down for us, like, what is your role? Is it safe to say that you are kind of like a mini SDR in a way, or like, how would you sort of describe what, the IAR role is to you?
Yeah. A lot of it is service, right? Obviously, you're kind of working with people to help manage their money, manage their investments. But one of the more unexpected sides of things when it comes to being an IAR or just an advisor in general is the sales side. I didn't really think about my financial advisor as someone who's selling, right, or on that sales side of things. But that's probably like 70 to 80% of my job. I have to sell myself, sell my service, and I think it's awesome because it's kind of like I'm in a position where I run my entire sales cycle from A to Z, whether from creating the opportunity to having the meetings and the presentations to closing and the ongoing service beyond that. And so it's kind of a microcosm
It's like full
of
cycle, huh?
exactly. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's one, providing a really good service and a really good product, and that comes with just me knowing a lot and being able to help people. But then two, just as important is the ability to communicate that to others and to continue to grow your business. Because if you aren't able to bring in more clients, more assets, you know, and grow that way, you're not going to sustain. And I think it's one of the most difficult parts of this business is being able to convince people to trust you with their money, right? It's one of the hardest questions to ask.
100%. I guess, like, what is required? What qualifications does someone need in order to get into the line of work that you have? Or is it pretty like entry level? Like, paint me a picture of like what someone might need to think about if they're considering going down this path.
Yeah. I mean, I would say first and foremost, I know financial advisor, like finance is one of the big terms that comes with it, but you don't need to be having a finance background really to get into this industry. You know, it's a lot more about your ability to learn, your relationship management skills, you know, your communication skills, that kind of stuff is a lot more important. Your work ethic goes a lot into this. You know, it's long hours, especially when you're starting out in this career, because you're building your own business. And so like the finance side is not the priority here. It's more about, you know, how are you dealing with people? How are you able to communicate that you bring value to the table to others? And I feel like that aligns a lot with a lot of other sales roles as well, right?
So like if we're thinking in terms of like a sales mindset, right? Our mindset should always be sort of taking a problem solving approach, whether like it's a specific product that's solving a specific set of problems. In your words, you know, what problems or problem do you solve in this sort of financial advisement role in like a general landscape, would you say?
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of the times people have a general understanding of what they should be doing with their money, right? Like obviously saving in the bank is great, you know, and budgeting properly is great. Making sure you don't have too much debt is important. But then people don't understand as well, you know, the idea of investing and getting your money growing for you. Or if they do, sometimes they're unsure of how to go about it the best way possible. And then you think about, you know, you have all these pieces set up, but what is the goal with this? What are you trying to accomplish with your money? And that's where we come into play is we're taking your situation, what you have set up right now, what you can be doing, and we're aligning that with what you're trying to accomplish, right? For one person, buying a home might be a priority. For another, that's not. You know, retirement might be a priority, or buying a car, or planning for, you know, to live abroad, you know, anything like that, right? Is something that we're helping plan for. And so a lot of what my job is taking all these pieces in your financial life, putting it together to create a cohesive strategy moving forward, right? Making sure that they're all working together to achieve your goals in the best way possible.
Dude, that's amazing. I think I really have to tip my hat off to people that do the work that you do, because it's not easy to get clients, because like you said, you're trusting people with their money, and most of the time, like, it's really hard to build those pure cold connections, right? I'm sure everyone out there has gotten like a bunch of cold messages from advisors, you know, and it's like it's pretty obvious. So like I'd imagine that makes your role extremely difficult in finding, you know, new opportunities at the top of the funnel. And one way that I feel like we really connected was through referrals, right? A mutual friend of ours knew you, and through that, you were able to introduce myself and vice versa. And I think that's an often underlooked strategy. Like, I don't think a lot of SDRs or sales reps really lean into that, whereas you have to really lean into that. So I'm curious, like, how important are referrals to what you do, and like how can you like get the most out of that?
Yeah. Referrals, in terms of importance, they're essential. Without referrals, I wouldn't be able to survive in this business 100%. And I think, you know, you think about a lot of sales positions in general, or products or services that you're selling, I think the hardest thing a lot of the times is getting your foot in the door and being able to at least convey your message, right? Because people are so unwilling to listen already. You know, I'm sure a lot of SDRs and BDRs can relate. You know, cold calling is the worst because 90% of the time people don't even want to talk. Um, and so that referral helps break that ice. It creates a warm connection. You know, the fact that someone else, a third party, is coming to you and saying, hey, I'm working with this guy already. He's done a good job for me. I think he would do a good job for you too. That just opens your eyes, right? And it opens your ears and allows you to at least listen to what they have to say. And once you get that, you know, with almost anything, right? If you're good at communicating that message, you're going to be able to schedule a meeting, continue to show what you can do from there, and then eventually close that, right? And so the referrals are great because it does provide that connection. And I would say, you know, it's something that I stress a lot with a lot of my clients. It's something that I'm very forward with. You know, this is how I primarily grow my business. I tell all of my clients that, you know, if we're going to work together, I am expecting referrals. And obviously in return, I'm going to be giving you a good service and you should expect that good service as well. But like, if I can work off referrals, then it allows me to focus so much more on actually providing that great service with the clients I already have, rather than having to spend so much time looking for new ones. Exactly. Right. And so that's kind of by putting it up front, by continuously touching on it, you know, referral process. It's funny because like you have like your sales cycle, you're trying to sell your service, but at the same time, I also have referrals in mind overlapping that same cycle. There's a referral cycle as well that comes with it, from the referral contacting that the referrer contacting that referee, right, or that referral, to the initial phone call, to the meeting that we have, to closing, to continuously after that, just touching on it, giving that reminder that that's what I'm trying to work on, and that's how I grow my business.
Dude, I'm so glad that you've really anchored in on that, because I feel like, at least for me and maybe other people, it's kind of hard to like give that extra ask, so to speak. How do you build confidence in like knowing that like you kind of have to nudge people a little bit, but like, you know, maintain that posture and feel confident knowing that this is something that can yield a lot? You just kind of have to ask.
Yeah. I mean, and that's how it is with a lot of things, you know, is asking is the toughest part to overcome, right? You know, it's tough. You know, you don't want to ask those tough questions or ask for even more and reach for more, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. And I think a lot of the confidence comes with the fact that, hey, I'm actually providing a great product or a great service. And so why wouldn't you want to share that with other people? Right? Why wouldn't you want to share that with your community? I tell people all the time, if I'm working on a plan for you and I'm helping you with your money and you feel a lot more confident about your money and about your situation, why wouldn't you want the people in your network to feel the same way? And so that's kind of how I'm able to really build that confidence in asking that question and make it a little bit more comfortable for the other person as well. You know, it's a lot about how you frame it, because if you say, hey, work with me and I need referrals to work with you, you know, it comes off as aggressive. But if you frame it as if, you know, hey, like, I'm here to take care of the people around you as well. I'm here to provide this for those who you think can really have a benefit from this. Like, people are more open to wanting to give it, because at the end of the day, they don't have to give referrals, right? You're asking for referrals. And so you have to make it worthwhile for them to go out of their way to be giving these referrals in the first place.
All about just finding ways to make deposits at every level, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm sure you've gotten this a lot, or maybe still get this. Like, from what I hear with a lot of these young advisors, that like the people they're reaching out to are probably like 4x their age or 3x their age. So I'm assuming a common objection that you get is like, how can I trust someone who's younger than me, or whatever the objection may be, right? Because it's with money. People really hold on to that. How do you find ways to show your credibility despite maybe being younger or maybe not as experienced?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, and it's the biggest obstacle I have to overcome, the fact that I'm dealing with people 2, 3, 4 times my age. And so a lot of it comes from the confidence I build in constantly learning and constantly building my knowledge. You know, my goal is to know 10 times more than the other person. And like the more bases that I can cover, the better I'm going to be able to communicate why I can bring value, and the better and the more confident I'm going to be. So that's first and foremost, just being able to consistently absorb information and learn, trying to dedicate time to reading and, talking to older advisors, making sure to understand that how they approach certain situations goes a long way. And then beyond that, is really like leaning on my team as well, because I'm not doing this solo, right? I work at a company, I work at a team that supports me really well. It's one of the biggest reasons why I joined GK in the first place, is the fact that they do have such a great support system. And so, I'll be honest with people, like I don't know everything, right? Like I'm younger, right? I'm still, and like no one knows everything, right? But if I don't know something, I have a team of advisors with decades of experience, and someone on my team knows it, right? And I'm going to find that answer and I'm going to get it back to you. And people appreciate that honesty a lot more than someone who is trying to, say something without really knowing what they're saying, right? Because that's where you kind of screw yourself over, right? You shoot yourself in the foot, because if you say something that's wrong, then that can really have some major consequences. And so it just a lot of just knowing, being confident in my knowledge, being confident in my team and my support system, and just being a very good communicator in general, and being attentive to what my clients and my prospects are saying, and understanding what they're trying to accomplish as well.
Mm-hmm. Dude, this has been amazing, man. Thank you so much. Yeah. I guess for anyone out there that's like, I know I like sent you over one of my buddies, Mike, hopefully he's watching this, but like anyone who knows that like they are really passionate about like helping people with their finances, but may be scared of that sales aspect, which I've heard so many times. I feel like you're living proof that if you're really passionate about it, like what advice do you have for them?
I mean, I would say for those who are scared of the sales aspect, if you can try and get some sales experience, right? That's the easiest way to get over it, is just putting yourself out there and learning by doing. But otherwise, just be confident in the fact that you are actually benefiting others, because if you don't feel like you're helping other people, then no one's going to feel like that you're helping other people. You have to believe in yourself first. And so do your best to, understand like what the value is that you're bringing to the table, have a lot of knowledge in what you're providing in terms of a product or a service. And from there, convey that to others, right? And use that to grow your business, whether that be through cold calls or referrals or whatever it may be. That confidence is going to be so key in finding different ways to build that, even if you have to fabricate it at first, will help.
Just get your feet wet, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my mindset on this is like everyone has their niche, right? Like I work at EdTech, so my specialty is like EdTech, right? And yours, like you spent a good chunk of your life learning about things that I don't know about. And so like, that's your value, right? Your specific knowledge that you can come in and offer value and help people with your expertise, like you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. My goal is basically for my clients and people that I talk to come out with a better, at the least a better understanding of their money, right? Because the more you know about what's going on in your financial life, the better off you're going to be in all aspects, mentally, physically, emotionally, let alone financially, right? So.
Sweet. Ziad, thank you so much, man. I guess for anyone out there that's been inspired by this podcast, whether to, just seek some advisement from you or just, get to know like what works for you and just pick your brain about this industry, where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Ziad Hijazi, or you can find me on Instagram. You can email me at ziad@gerberkawasaki.com, or even call into our office line. It's 310-441-9393. My extension is 114, or just ask for Ziad, and I'm happy to chat.
Ziad, thank you so much, man. I learned so much on this episode, and I've really had a very positive experience with you at every level, man. So I thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thanks, Mateo. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. Sales Dev Squad, I hope you found this helpful. Please connect with Ziad on LinkedIn, and we will catch y'all on the next one.